This time I've got a Rainbird valve in my irrigation that needs to be replaced. So I've already taken the solenoid off. I've tested that. I know it's not that. All the other videos I've seen like this, everything looks so antiseptic. Look at what I actually have to work with. Imagine this, but with mud up to here. This is what gets me ticked about these other videos. Everybody's doing this in like a workshop or something. It was more like this. This is my other set of valves. Except imagine, again, the mud covering the equipment. You just got to get in there with your hands. I wouldn't use any tools because you're going to mess up your wiring there, but just get in with your hands. It just rained, so there's a lot of mud, so that wasn't a big deal. Just get in there and dig that out. I mean, and I got the proof. 2 big bags of mud. Once you've dug it out, then just get a little bead of water. Just hose this thing down before you start working on it. So I don't want to get any silt down into the piping itself, so that looks relatively clean. I think I'm ready to take those 6 screws off and remove the top of the valve. That was dumb. I got the 1-inch valve instead of the 3/4-inch valve. I keep forgetting if the PVC on my irrigation is 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch. If you want to figure out which one yours is, measure the outside of your PVC. 1 inch is what a 3/4 inch measures from the outside. Down here you can see that is more like 1.5 inches. This is the 1 inch down here. I bought this one. I'm supposed to buy this one. So I'm just going to take the head off now, the head of this valve. I'm going to leave the rest of the body of the valve. The body of the valve's fine. There's no cracks. I'm going to have to, at that point, let's disconnect the solenoid and connect the new solenoid. Now when you put on the wire nuts, you're going to have to use the ones that are waterproof. I think these are waterproof. So I'm going to need to remove the top of this valve. I've got these 6 screws that are keeping it in place, so remove that. I'm just going to leave the solenoid where it is because the new valve top has a solenoid on it as well. And when I remove it, you can see it's pretty darn dirty in there. Squirting some water from the hose on it did a pretty darn good job. But now I'm going to go in there with this handkerchief, and without getting it any dirtier, let's see if we can't just suck all the water out of there so we have a nice clean valve. The handkerchief didn't do much good getting the water. What did real well was paper towels, so just jam some paper towels in there to suck the water out. And then just make sure, the most important thing is the seal between the top, the old bottom, and the new top. So just make sure you go over that real good so you've got no junk, and you should be good to go. Now I'm going to go ahead now, and it's time to pull this apart. Use the top from here and screw the top from here onto the existing bottom. The step after that is going to involve just connecting the wires for the solenoid. Now I don't know beans about electrical, so and I can't find on my panel a specific circuit breaker for the irrigation, so I'm just going to turn the whole main off because I don't know anything about electricity. This next step, as I pull the top off, you got to be very careful with this. See, this is the old diaphragm, and there's a spring. There's also this little piece of plastic. If you screw up either of these when you pull this off, well, just forget about it. You might as well go buy another valve. So be very careful. There is a flow that you have to observe when you install this. You match the flow arrows with the arrows that you see on the existing one. And only an idiot would really get that wrong, but I thought I'd mention that. And this is what you see when you take off the top. And now a very I'm not going to show it because I'm going to need 2 hands, but a very delicate procedure now would be to remove that diaphragm and gently put it in place on the existing base. And then to cover this, and notice how the spring is a little askew, so I'm going to have to make sure I put it down so that the spring goes straight into the center of the top. Well, that was pretty scary, but it got in there, nothing went wrong, and I got it all tightened down in there. And even if I didn't clean everything out, there's this bleed valve right here. Later on, before we actually put this in service, we'll use the bleed valve to see if we can get any of the dirt out that we didn't get out earlier. Okay, I got the new solenoid attached to the wiring and turn the electricity back on. Everything's safe. And look what I found. I can't believe this. This is what I pulled out. You know, this is the old solenoid, the old cap. And that is not a waterproof wire nut. I had to pull one apart to get it off. That's not one of the ones that's got the gel. See, I got these nice blue ones here. So you can see they have a nice little gel that comes out. They're all waterproof. Look at this. None of these are waterproof wire nuts, and yet they've been working. Oh well. I don't know. These experts. Next up is let's go ahead and just bleed the new valve before we put it in service. By that, what I mean is I'm going to turn my water back on. I'm going to go ahead and open this first, and then give it a full minute in which it can bleed water out and get any of that junk that may be stuck in there out. And let's see what happens when we turn on the valve. I'll go ahead and turn it on now. Oops! I was supposed to put on the bleed valve first. Or open the bleed valve first. Okay, there we go. Bleed valve is open. And let's try that again. Okay, I see water coming out of the bleed valve. So I think we're good to go. Now the instructions by the manufacturer say to do this for a full minute. Let me go ahead and give this some more time. Okay, seems like it's been enough time. I just need to turn off the bleed valve. Isn't that right? There we go. There we go. So now, and are there no leaks? There are no leaks. The only problem I think I can see is that, oh, it's just backed into a cactus, is that it's in the on position. Oh good, it just went into the off position. So the solenoid is working. Oh, thank God. Here's the real test. Here's the moment of high drama. I put it on the area number 4. I give it a certain number of minutes. And then, while it's in that position, I press manual. I've learned from memory how to set this up. The manufacturer left the instructions in Spanish. So let's see if this is going to work. I'll go ahead and press on. And I think I hear it. Hey! It is working. That is so good. It's pointing in the wrong direction. That's not a problem. I know how to fix that. And yes, I have a side yard. I won't need this hose anymore to keep my trees alive. So I guess I can get rid of that. And yeah, there we go. I better turn it off, and if you water this time of day, it's just going to burn your grass or boil your grass. So let's turn it off and wait for the 7 p.m. watering, and life is good again. Next time you need to do this, never ever look on YouTube with those guys that make it look easy. There's 1,000 other things I would have rather done. This took 4 hours today, 2 trips to Lowe's, probably 2 hours yesterday, 2 hours the day before. And I've got the scars and the mud and the muck to prove it. So good luck with your project.